Hi, this is Gautam. For today's episode, we'll be looking at this classic Hard Times by Charles Dickens. Written in the year 1854, the novel is a poignant description of urban Britain during the Industrial Revolution. So, the novel is technically an analysis of how exactly the Industrial Revolution influences not just the city but the people around. We are introduced to one lead character, Thomas Gradgrind or Thomas Gradgrind. Now, this individual, if you see, he's one who stresses that facts, formulae, and theories are the most important thing in life, and whenever possible, emotions, philosophies, and irrelevant thought processes are to be kept aside. Now, using this philosophy of strict adherence to facts and theories, he brings up his children. He has a boy and a girl, Lucy and Tom. Now, he also adopts one more girl, Sissy Jew. So at the end, end of the novel, the third part of the novel, we get an understanding of how this theory of inculcation of knowledge really enables the children to grow up as adults. Now, point to be noted is both his son and daughter, Lucy and Tom, are able to really imbibe these facts to an extent. But if you take Sissy Jupe on the other hand, Sissy Jupe is not really able to understand even the basic tenets of literature and mathematics. So at the end of the novel, we come to an understanding of who really makes it better in life or who's living peacefully. Before moving to the literary analysis, just to know that these are not the only four characters. We have a character, Mr. Bounderby, who is technically a bully. Have you come across these people in real life who always boast that they have, that they really did not have anything at the start, and that everything which they have achieved is only because of their hard work and all that bullshit? Well, technically, Mr. Bounderby is like that. He boasts that he was brought up, or he brought himself up from the most difficult of circumstances, and at the end, you know that most people who boast so much of their dire circumstances actually are not really that strong. Now let's come to the literary part. First is what exactly is the author trying to prove? Well, see, the novel is set in 1854, as I have already told you. So it's about how the development of machines and efficiency is actually imparting even human lives. So this man, Thomas Gradgrind, is a representation, it's technically a metaphor that just like everyone strives for optimization and efficiency, you're not, accepting, or you're not accepting, expecting optimization and efficiency, but it is expected that not just machines but human beings should function that way. Now that is when he forces his children to properly discipline themselves and grow them with the matter of facts. And if you look at the second part of analysis, it is that coming to this very normal realization that facts or numbers or mathematics and theories alone will not make a happy human. Because at the end of the novel, we find that Sissy Jupe, who was not able to absorb the basic tenets, is definitely in a better position compared to the siblings Lucy and Tom. And it will be a big error if I do not describe the mastery of Charles Dickens' writing. Of course, everyone knows how big an author he is, but I just want to show you two parts in the book which just shows his literature prowess. Now, picture this. I've already told you this Gradgrind person is someone who's about facts, about strict adherence to theories, right? Now, look how Charles Dickens writes when he writes a description of the person. The scene was a plain, bare, monotonous vault of a schoolroom, and the speaker, look at the word he used. Speaker's square forefinger emphasized his observations by underscoring every sentence with a line on the schoolmaster's sleeve. The emphasis was held by the speaker's square wall of forehead, which had his eyebrows for its base, while his eyes found a commodious cellarage in two dark caves overshadowed by the wall. The emphasis was held by the speaker's mouth, which was wide, thin, and hard set. The emphasis was held by the speaker's voice, which was, look at the words, inflexible, dry, and dictatorial. The emphasis was held by speaker's hair, which bristled on the skirts of his bald head. A plantation of fits to keep the wind from shining surface, all covered with knobs, like the crust of plum pie, as if the head had scarcely warehouse room for the hard facts which stood inside. Warehouse room and hard facts. See, Dickens could have chosen any different way of writing this character, but his intention to use mathematical objectives and geometry for describing the character talks about his mastery. And finally, a description of how things, how bad things were. And today people complain about slums and dire living conditions in several third world countries, including India. But not so long ago, even in the so-called industrial revolution, Britain, things were very poor. It just takes different periods for different countries to cross that. So it's a description of a town. The name of the town is Coke Town. Coke Town, coal. Sounds like this. It was a town of red brick, or of brick that would have been red if the smoke and ashes had allowed it. But as matters stood, it was a town of unnatural red and black, like the painted face of a savage. It was a town of machinery and tall chimneys out of which interminable serpents of smoke trail themselves forever and ever and never get uncoiled. It had a black canal in it and a river that ran purple with ill-smelling dye and vast piles of building full of windows where there was a rattling and a trembling all day long, and where the piston of the steam engine worked monotonously up and down like the head of an elephant in a state of melancholy madness. So what are you waiting for? Go and get this classic and enjoy some Dickensian touch.